Hey, micro folks, this is Mr. Hooker, and this is video number 2 for perfect competition in the long run. So let's get to the action here. In the long run, firms can enter or exit the industry. At this point, they can figure it out. They can go, hey, we're done. Have a nice day. This is where they can go. This is where the profit and loss motive kicks in. If firms are making profit, firms will, if there's an economic profit being made, firms will enter. Existing firms will expand. If there are losses being made, firms will exit. Existing firms will also contract. So that is how that will do. So firms can expand and contract, enter and exit. So decisions are all based off the incentives of profit and loss. So, we assume easy entry and exit. The only long run adjustment we consider that's the only thing we consider here. We also are assuming identical costs. All firms in the industry have identical costs. That's just an assumption to basically hit the easy button on this. We are also assuming a constant cost industry. Entry and exit of firms does not affect resource prices. So that's another assumption in all of this. So if we start at long run equilibrium, entry will eliminate all kind of entry kind of eliminates profit. So basically, if somebody's making profit, right? Start at equilibrium, somebody does something stupid. Somebody says, hey, and I always use in my classes, if you're one of my students, especially one of my in-class students, you know that I'm using tomatoes. I love tomatoes. That's it. I love tomatoes and I hate Furbies. So if you didn't know me, now you do. So we're making tomato. We're all growing tomatoes. We have a tomato market here, and so we're having that. Everybody's in equilibrium, prices are the same, and all of a sudden somebody gets the bright idea that their tomatoes are better than anybody else's tomatoes in the class, right? And so they raise their prices. They charge higher prices than anybody else. Let's say that the market equilibrium price was $2, and they're going to go for $2.50. Well, we know from what we learned in the last video that they will sell none, and they will exercise the easy exit clause, and all of a sudden they are out of the market. All right. So basically, as they leave the market, that means that all of a sudden, that means that all the other their customers have to go somewhere, and so their customers basically go to the other firms. And all of a sudden, everybody's earning an economic profit. As everybody's earning an economic profit, that means that sends a signal to everybody else. Hey, there's money to be made in this market. So firms enter. There's no magic red light to say, hey, we only need one firm, but multiple firms enter. Supply increases, price falls. We no longer are making an economic profit. At this point, probably too many people enter. We're earning economic losses. Okay? So as we're earning economic losses, it doesn't matter if you've been in the market 5 minutes or 5 years. You all feel the pain the same. And so now people start looking around being like, okay, y'all got to go because I like this job. You got to go. So all of a sudden, some firms start exiting. There's no sign over the door telling them exactly how many firms have to exit. And hey, by the way, we have reached equilibrium. So probably more firms exit than needed. And so as firms leave, supply decreases, prices go up, and more firms leave than they need to. And all of a sudden, the remaining firms are earning an economic profit again. And we go right back up to where we started. And this will go on for a few rounds, by the way. And then all of a sudden, we'll hit it just right, and we'll be back at equilibrium. And we'll sit at equilibrium until somebody else gets the bright idea that they've got better tomatoes than everybody else. And we do this all again. So you will have alternating periods of equilibrium, economic profit, and economic loss. And that is the way that this whole thing works. It's highs, it's lows, and it's somewhere in between, over and over and over again. And that's just, perfect competition in a nutshell. So the process: firms seek profits, they shun the losses, they're free to enter and exit. Um, Production will always occur at the firm's minimum average total cost, minimum ATC, and price will equal the minimum ATC. So you're breaking even, basically at that. So here's a graph of how this temporary profits and reestablishment of long run equilibrium. If we were at 50 and all of a sudden we experienced economic profits, price went up to 60, that would be over there on the right, or, for a firm, it's on the left, but in the market, it's over on the left, on the right. We go up, but all of a sudden, when we see that, or other people see that, demand has gone up and we move to this other piece here. We're going to move here. Let's call this A. And then once we do that, we're going to have, firms are going to say, well, there's an opportunity. And so then we're going to move down here to B. And so that is when, supply goes up, and we've shifted supply out to the right. And now everybody has more stuff, there's more supply, and price is back at 50, and we are back. So that is how that all works. And we're back, we're back at 50, except now instead of selling 100,000 tomatoes, we're selling 110,000 tomatoes as a market. So just selling a ton more tomatoes rather than, not a ton more, it's just 10,000 more. But we're just selling more tomatoes than we used to. All right. Long run supply, we have constant cost industries. Entry or exit does not affect your long run ATC. So, in a constant cost industry, like we said, this is what we were assuming. You get constant resource prices. This is a special case. This does not happen too much in the real world. What really happens most often in the real world is the second one, an increasing cost industry. This is most industries. Your long run ATC increases with expansion. You have specialized resources. You use a certain thing. This is what you use to produce your good. If you can't get it, you've got to figure out some other way. There's a certain resource you use to make your good. And then there are decreasing cost industries, which really don't happen much at all. That's kind of like unicorn land. But constant cost at 50, it's going to cost you $50 at 90,000, at 100,000, and at 110,000. Doesn't matter. At 120,000, it's still going to cost you $50 to produce that good. Increasing cost at 45, it's going to cost you, at 90,000, it's going to cost you 45. At 100,000, it's going to cost you 50. 110, it's going to cost you 55. At 150, 120, it'll cost you 60. So you're just going up. Decreasing cost at 90, it's 55. At 100, it's 50. At 45, it's 110. I said unicorn land. It's not really. That's basically economies of scale. That's basically what monopolies are. Natural monopolies are based on economies of scale. The idea of doing that. So That's not completely unheard of. It's just economies of scale. And then here you go. Uh, minimum, the idea of the triple equality, price equaling marginal cost equaling minimum ATC, perfect competition is the only market structure to get you this triple equality that you see on the left hand graph. That is true allocative efficiency. That is true. Um, that is the true triple equality. No one else. That is maximizing surplus, total surplus. No other market structure will get you that. That is just how that is. And you see maximize total surplus there on the left. I mean, on the right, excuse me. In the long run, efficiency is achieved. So productive efficiency, producing where price equals minimum ATC, um, and allocative efficiency, price where producing where price equals marginal cost, and getting that triple equality where price is equal to marginal cost equal to the minimum ATC, and consumer surplus and producer surplus are maximized. This is the only one that's going to get you that triple equality. Just once again, dynamic adjustments. Purely competitive markets automatically adjust to those changes in consumer taste. So as people change over time, people want different things. Economies evolve. Competitive markets basically adjust to those changes in taste and basically go, hey, we noticed that you like X, Y, or Z. And we have decided that we will produce more of X, Y, and Z. Here you go. They adjust to resource supplies. Different things come out, and they're like, hey, these things are cheaper. We're going to use these cheaper things to make these goods cheaper for everyone and to make them more efficient for everyone. They adjust to technology. They won't use the most cutting edge technology. They will use newer technology, but not always the most cutting edge. So understand that they will go new, but not the newest. Um, and they're trying to be efficient with that. So, and the newest technology is not always the cheapest and the best because there still may be kinks to work out. So once you get the kinks worked out, it may be good. And so remember the invisible hand from Adam Smith. Um, that if everybody, it's the original, as I always say, it's the original you do you, right? If everybody acts in their own if everybody acts in their own individual self-interest, the economy will, as if led by an invisible hand, reach its own optimal output. So entrepreneurs want to increase profits beyond just the normal profit. They want that economic profit. So they decrease costs by trying to innovate, and they get new profits, new products. So getting those new products, they sell more. People like the new shiny stuff. I had a finance professor once that said that CEOs were like little kids. They always like the new shiny things. So, if you're making pitches to CEOs, always include new and shiny stuff. Creative destruction. So competition, and this is one of my favorite, Joseph Schumpeter, creative destruction. Competition and innovation lead to creative destruction. Creative destruction is the idea that innovators, entrepreneurs, basically will go and uh, create a new business or industry which will destroy an old business or industry and disrupt. And as they do that, it just basically creates new capital, new design, new things for the economy. And so you have basically serial entrepreneurs who, when their business goes down, they just go away and take stock of the economy. And then they come back with their financiers and be like, I got a new idea and I know what this economy needs. Help me help this economy. And they will come back with another great idea. You've had different things that were great creative destruction. gas lamps that got rid of electric lights that got rid of gas lamps got rid of candlelight, um, and so CDs that got rid of cassettes and um, 8 tracks, and then streaming that got rid of CDs. um, I imagine, and you can say streaming also got rid of DVDs and possibly cable. I see now where that's insanely that's going away pretty much because so few people are on cable. It's getting so expensive that people are leaving it like rats off a sinking ship. Um, so there's a lot of different things with that. Cars, and a horse and carriage. There's a lot of different creative destruction out there. You can think of some of your own if you would like. Um, so creation of the new products and methods destroy the old products and methods, and that's kind of the way that goes. Here's some of that. Here's an econ movie for the Lion King, and I'll put that in the class for you. The pandemic pause. COVID pandemic led to a massive decline in revenue for a lot of businesses. Restaurants, hotels, rental cars, they all got hit hard. So they lost a ton of their business. Restaurants were able to make a little bit of money with the takeout and stuff, ghost kitchens. Hotels were just killed, and rental cars were killed. Rental car companies were killed twice in the sense that they had to sell off their stock, their car stock just to survive. And then when it came back, when everybody came back, they had no cars to rent out because they had sold off so many of their cars to survive. And then they couldn't afford to buy cars because the price of because of the semiconductor shortage, the price of cars went up and they could not afford to buy cars. So they got hit double whammy. And that may be kind of on them, but it is what it is. That is it. Y'all have a great day. Next up will be Monopoly. Take care.